The music business is a cruel and shallow money trench. It's a long plastic hallway where the thieves and the pimps run free, and good men, they die like dogs. There's also a negative side. Sounds like a pretty dirty business, but I live for it. Now I have to be honest with you and say this is a slightly misquoted line by the journalist Hunter S. Thompson, but it has become notoriously famous because we want to believe it so badly. Now every movie that portrays the music industry tells us the same story. We have the greedy labels and managers on one hand, and on the other hand the young artists that dream of becoming successful singers who end up being exploited. I mean, everyone loves an underdog, and someone has to be the bad guy. I mean, I can confirm to you this is happening in our industry, but the story is very incomplete. I'm a music industry professional with many years in the business. I've been working at all the major labels, and even have my own music management, and I've been building artist careers from nothing to something. I didn't have an in, and I didn't know anyone. So I came to Sweden as a toddler when my family ran from the war in Kurdistan. It felt like I was the only one looking like myself in the suburbs of Stockholm, listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication album when it came out in '99. I was 9 years old and I became obsessed with rock music and MTV. And music made me feel a certain way nothing else can be compared with. Now fast forward to my teenage years and I pitched myself to a rock radio station in town where they hesitantly gave me an internship when I turned 18, and I built my relationships and connections from there. I was new, I was naive, and I was hustling. And I quickly learned that the music business is not for the faint-hearted. The attraction of doing this was and still is the unknown. And I had my fair share of hits. I mean, people are underestimating my capability, my energy, and that I'm not here to be safe. But a career in this field is not for someone looking for certainty only doing their 9 to 5. I mean, this industry is reshaping every 6 months, so the marketing strategies you would have last year wouldn't apply today. And let me tell you that this is a good thing. We're heading into an exciting era right now and witnessing quite a beautiful power shift that we never really talk about. I mean, at least outside the long hallways where the thieves and the pimps run free. I mean, more artists are making a living from their music, and the democratization has torn the gatekeeping apart. You want to release music? It's a few clicks away. You want to become successful? No one is stopping you. I mean, it will be hard, of course, but you have the same opportunity to get famous, just as Lil Nas X, who broke the internet with his Old Town Road, based on a track that he bought for $30 online. You all heard the song. This is without a record label. The song has now billions of streams. I mean, of course, later on, a major came on board and paid an enormous amount of money to license it, but either way, he broke the internet before any label came on board. Lil Nas X, he's smart. He knows that hard work beats talent, so he put in the work. And also an artist like Ray, who felt stuck in her label contract and wanted out because she felt artistically limited. She manifested her story online and is now successfully releasing music independently. And she's just one of all the examples where artists are taking control by changing or making deals that gives them future control of what to do with their own legacy. Things are changing. In the early days, the only way to release music was through the labels, which they in turn would bribe the radio stations and record stores and DJs to play all of these songs. So the only way of success was through the gatekeepers, which formed the somewhat dodgy contracts from the mid-century up to recent years. A more nuanced perspective of these dodgy contracts would be to really understand that these labels also took huge financial risks and would lose so much money on most of the signings. But that's okay because they made plenty of profit from the successful ones. And then everyone started to download music illegally, and that hit our industry hard. And everyone thought it was the end of it. Kind of was. Then tech challenged the old model, and the executives got nervous. Isn't streaming going to destroy our business? It didn't. Frankly, it saved it. And now we're tiptoeing again around new technology with artificial intelligence, and some people think it will destroy our business and replace the humans, and I personally don't think so. Now it may challenge some producers who sit at home and creating tracks for sale or background music, but AI can only be as good as its current feed, and this industry itself is nothing without our talented artists, and AI can never replace those artists. I mean, they have no cultural sensitivity, no ethics, personal stories, and people want to see their artists live to confirm their authenticity. So when it comes to AI, I think we're gonna be okay. I mean, at least I think. Back to what the future holds. Let me ask you, does anyone here know how the typical revenue stream looks like in the recording industry? No? Okay. So I would say the biggest platforms today use the so-called pro rata model, meaning the monthly payout per stream is based on its market share across all users. So this is not quite fair if you, say, as a listener, want to support your favorite artist. Simply said, this current model is over-rewarding the stars at the expense of everybody else. Now, my prediction is a more fairly distributed economy, where we will have a so-called user-centric model or hybrid as a standard, as opposed to the model I just explained. The user-centric model, on the other hand, is dividing the revenue generated by individual subscribers according to what they actually listen to. So the artists get the actual payout generated by their fans and their streams. And this is the whole discussion in the industry right now. The platforms, and I mean all of them, they need to charge better for music consumption and pay out more fairly to the right holders across the whole board. And on top of this, they need to limit any exposure to so-called fake artists. I believe we'll get there. We're gonna be forced to it. And also look how we survived a whole pandemic. The live music market was down 100%. Can you believe that? It bounced back, but it's also a reminder that we need to keep a holistic approach to music. And I might sound very relaxed about the whole thing. And believe me, I can have my bitter moments too, romanticizing about the past and getting frustrated about the things I want to change. But that's a whole other speech, because the point is here today that I live for the thrill of not knowing what's next. And I'd say, don't underestimate the artists in this. Being a performing artist is one of the most exposed professions you can get yourself into. You not only sell your art, you also sell your personality, your charisma, your ability to make connections on stage and on social media. Why on earth would you put yourself through that? It's crazy. I mean, most of them would leave everything behind and go tour in a van for weeks or months at a time. I just had my artist doing that. She said, as most of them would, it's chaotic, but she was happier than ever. So I think it's safe to say that if you decided to become a performing artist, you're already hardcore. And the music fans, they are right in this mix too. They spend all their money on concert tickets and merch. They sit outside venues for hours, if not days, just to get a chance to meet their idols. They're making their fandom a lifestyle, and they drive the whole industry and culture forward. I mean, we learn from them. What to sign, what to create, what campaigns to do. Or like in my case, actually making a living from being one of those fangirls. And believe me, my family still asks me when I'm gonna get a real job. But I think that we can all learn from the challenges of the music industry. I mean, we grow up with certain lifestyle, like with certain responsibilities and routines, and life can be rather predictable. And I want to say here that it's also okay to swerve, and I know what your next step would be. It's uncomfortable, but you will make it work. And you will become really street smart, which is necessary, and really good at making those connections with other people. And this whole industry is based on those relationships. That can create amazing opportunities just because you were brave enough and put yourself out there. There's actually no guarantee that this path will ever pay off, so the reward has to be the experience. And in the end, I think that the challenges we have are gonna force us to a better industry for both artists and fans. We know that survival in this industry is a mix of passion and being able to adapt. And the ones here to make some quick money, they will be phased out in their natural cycle. Because most of us, we have the same feeling about music. It changed our life for the better, and we want to share it with the world. And do remember, it is a business. I mean, the ones creating art to be consumed, they have to go with the flow. They be their own advocate, improvise, engage fans, try new tech. It will probably give you an advantage. It's a never-ending reinvention of this music industry. And we are all pirates in this pond we have created for ourselves. We kind of enjoy the adrenaline of not knowing what tomorrow will bring. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in it. So believe me when I say that we chose this life. Thank you.